Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adeola. If you're new here, you're most definitely welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. So guys, I have been in Kenya for about 5 months now. I moved here in ending of June, and I have noticed some interesting, amazing, unexpected things, and I would like to just talk about it and compare it to my home country, Nigeria, where I'm coming from. So this is a video about my culture shocks, the differences I've seen between Kenya and Nigeria, and the similarities. Let's dive in. So in this video, I'll be comparing Nairobi, Kenya and Lagos, Nigeria. And this is because of the hustle and bustle in Lagos and Nairobi is kind of similar. And for context, the fact that Abuja is also the capital of Nigeria, I'll be also including Abuja a bit in some of the comparison and similarities. So we'll be talking mostly about Nairobi and Lagos. So let me give a quick statistics of Lagos, Abuja and Nairobi. The city of Lagos covers an immense area, coming in with a total of 1,171.28 square meters. That's about 452.23 square miles. With the population continuing to grow and currently exceeding at least 17 million residents, the population density is around 6,871 residents per square kilometer. That's about 1,800 per square miles. Abuja, on the other hand, which is the capital city of Nigeria, has a land area of 7,315 kilometers, population of about 3.6 million, and population density, that is people per square meter, of 468.53, and this was as at 2016. So let's talk about Nairobi. Nairobi covers an area of 703.9 kilometers square, and then according to the 2019 Kenya population and housing census, the population was 4,397,073 population, with a population density of 6,247 people per square kilometer. Enough of the statistics. We all know that can be boring. So let's get into the juicy parts, the main reason why we're here. So let's talk about the matatus in Nairobi. Those things are artwork on wheels. Different vibes. You have AIs on them, you have popular artists on them, you have artwork on them. As in, who are the people that even do these things? I want to know, is it that they paint on them or they paint on a banner and stick it on them? I don't know. It's just so, but I'm so intrigued by them because I've never been in one and I really can't wait to ride in one. But every time I see them, I just stare because you see so many different types, different vibes, and some of them even blast loud music. Imagine having a party in matatus. I won't be surprised if they do that because Kenyans can party. Anyways, that's it for the matatus. I love it. I've never been in one, but it is so unique to Nairobi. It is so nice. Where they also in Nairobi, there's also boats. There are Ubers too. There's Boda, which is the bike system. If you want to take a motorbike, these are other transport system. And I think they have this regular 14 passenger buses that also convey people. But the wow effect for me is the matatus. Now let's talk about Lagos. Las Gidi. So in Lagos, we have the Molue, which are bigger buses, like similar to the matatus, but they are painted in black and yellow. We have the yellow, which are 16 or 14 passenger buses, and then we have the Uber, the Bolt, and other car hailing services. The thing about the transport, and then we have bikes in Lagos too. We have bikes, but bikes mostly ply residential areas or places that are not so, they are restricted from going to the highway, except for bikes that do delivery. And that's the difference I've noticed with Nairobi. Nairobi bikes, the Boda can ply the highways, they're allowed to, but in Lagos you're not allowed to. You'll be fined. Interesting thing we have about the yellow in Lagos are the conductors. Those guys are drama. Let me give you an instance. If you're entering their buses and some of them are saying, "Wole pelu change here," that is, enter with your change. That is, you should have the exact amount to pay where they do not have to give you any currency as a change, and you do not have it and you enter. These guys can that is, they can be so dramatic with you. On top, say you're going to pay them money, they are full of drama. Another thing they do is that they might decide to pair you with a random stranger to change the money by yourself. Like, you guys should go and sort it out yourself. Someone you do not know, and they can just drop him like, go and change with this person. You know, there's a kind of joke that we joke about that some couples have met by conductor giving them money to go and change. It can be so funny, and sometimes they can be rude. So most times when you're entering a public transport, don't be on your toes. Like, you to keep them, be ready, because it's bad bulls. If they see that you are too gentle, they can bully you. So that's one thing. I don't know if Kenya also have conductors that usher into the matatus or all these other buses. And are they dramatic? Do they have like character like the conductors in Nigeria? Please let me know. Actually, my husband was telling me that a colleague of his was saying, if you're in a matatu and then maybe they are blasting music and it's too loud and you complain, that they can tell you to get down even after you have paid. Is that true? Because that makes it seem that they are similar to the conductors that we have in Nigeria. Yeah, and for Abuja, the major means of transportation are private taxis, the Uber, Bolt, and other car-hailing services. And there are a few buses too, big buses, but I think they have a particular place that they fly. But the most common are private taxis in Abuja. For this second point, wait. You see, these are just a few. Because silly me that is not used to having shopping bags, every time I go to Carrefour, to the mall, I always buy a new one because I'll be like, oh, I will not need to buy too much. Maybe I can just hold it in my hands. And I always end up getting more than I need to. And I always have to buy more shopping bags. In Nairobi, you are not given nylon like you are in Lagos, Nigeria, or Abuja. You need to have a shopping bag. If you do not have one, you get one at the mall. And by getting, I mean paying for, you have to buy, and it's about 39 Kenyan shillings. In fact, my husband is always complaining that why do I keep forgetting? The good thing about this is that it makes you to recycle. Like, when you use it, you have to keep it so that the next time you want to shop, you just use it. For Nigeria, on the other hand, whenever you buy anything, you're given a nylon. It's packed for you in a nylon that is a polythene bag, and it's for free. You do not have to pay for that. It is what the seller would give to you, which is totally different from what it is in Nairobi. In Nairobi, anyway, when you go to the local market, you're given, let me check for it. I do not know the name, but something like this in red or different colors just to pack your whatever you got, but you're not given nylon, which is a good thing because you're trying to sustain the environment. I know that nylon polythene bag does a lot of damage, and most times you just dispose them wrongly, and Kenya is leading on that when it comes to sustainability, which is a good one compared to Nigeria. Now, this brings me to talking about the mall culture in Nairobi. There are so many malls in Nairobi. We do have a couple of them too in Lagos and Abuja, but Nairobi has more because before you take a few steps, you've seen another mall. It's like they do a lot of shopping more in the malls. Unlike Nigeria, that some of us go to the local markets to get some of these things that you can get in the mall. You can get them from local vendors too. But in Nairobi, so many people get household items from the mall, which is like the culture here. Now, let's talk about the market in Nairobi and in Lagos. In Lagos, I know that we have main markets where you can, as a final consumer, you can go into main markets and buy things in stock and get them in the price of wholesale, that is a cheaper price, and just store your house. In Nigeria, we like to, at least for me and a couple of people I know, we like to buy things in stock and store them in the freezer or in the fridge. Whereas in Nairobi, I noticed that people would prefer to get things, their vegetables and fresh food, in like something they just want to eat now. They do not really like to store for too long, and so therefore their major main markets are not really, it's only people that are going to resell things that normally go there, only people that want to go and resell, not majorly the final consumer. So final consumers would rather just buy from their roadside market or roadside vendor that just sells all these things. Unlike Nigeria, like me, when I was in Abuja, I go to stock for a month or 2 months the house. And here now in Kenya, I just stop maybe for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, especially when it comes to fresh food. So that's one thing. I think Kenyans like their food fresh, and Nigeria, we like fresh food too, but we can store them in the freezer and get it cheaper and keep it and eat it whenever we want to. In Nigeria, we have different ethnic groups, but the major tribes are the Yoruba, Igbos, and Hausa. Now, in the Yoruba, you have so many dialects. Same thing with the Igbo language. and I think with the Hausa language. So it's so diverse. Whereas in Kenya, they either speak Swahili or English language. I know that Kenyans also have dialects, but at least everybody can speak Swahili, and a lot of people can also speak English language. Unlike in Nigeria, where we have different tribes, someone that can speak Yoruba might not be able to speak Igbo or Hausa except they learn it or they have stayed in those parts and have been able to pick up on the language. So the universal language we have in Nigeria is English language and our pidgin language, which is like broken English. And that is like for the layman, people that cannot really speak English. Even if you can speak English, it's not easier for Nigerians to understand pidgin English. So one beautiful thing about Kenya is that everybody speaks Swahili. Either you're illiterate or you're an illiterate, you understand Swahili. Whereas in Nigeria, someone that cannot speak English language and can speak only Yoruba might find it difficult to communicate with someone who is Igbo that speaks only Igbo, except they both can understand English language. And this is a point for Nairobi, that everybody can speak Swahili no matter where you are from in Kenya. Now let's talk about Owoile, that is rent. Owoile is rent in Yoruba. This is paying of rent. In Nairobi, Kenya, it's just like how it is in the Western world, where you pay your rent every month. Whereas in Nigeria, you pay your rent for a year or 2 years, depending on your landlord. Now, there's an advantage to it, yeah, that you pay your rent every month, because you can just decide to, if you're not comfortable with a place anymore, you can move. I think you have to give a month notice or 2 month notice, depending on your contract. Unlike in Nigeria, where you rent for a year or 2 years, so you have to think twice before you rent a place, because you have to stay there for a long time. And another advantage is that for the rent in Nigeria, you can plan for it. Since it's a year, so you plan ahead for it. Unlike Nairobi, here that every month you just have to get something done. Now let's talk about the buildings. Nairobi is known for its high-rise residential buildings. There are so many residential buildings here that are high-rising. Unlike Lagos, Nigeria, we also have high-rise buildings, but most of them are probably companies or hospitals or shopping plazas. We have just a few of them that are residential, but Nairobi, there are so many residential high-rise buildings. I'm staying in one now, and it's been so good. And I feel like they're able to manage space that way. It has its advantages and disadvantages. In Nigeria, in Lagos, Abuja, we have more of estates that are built with duplex, bungalows, or 3 or 4 story buildings. It's very uncommon to see residential high-rise buildings. We have a few of them, but it's not as common as it is in Nairobi. So even though we have a lot of residential high-rise buildings in Nairobi, and we have a lot of housing estates in Lagos, they are both beautiful in their own ways, and they have their uniqueness with them too. Nairobi is green. Green. The trees, there are so many trees. It's so beautiful to know you are in a city that is as busy as Nairobi, and there are so many trees. This is something that I really, really appreciate about Nairobi. Abuja is also doing something similar, but Lagos, I think because Lagos is just so congested and so many people, Lagos is overpopulated as in now, and I think that's why we do not have so many trees like that. And I appreciate that about Nairobi. It's really nice. It's beautiful. It gives just this change that it's beautiful, and its nature is beneficial to our health. So I really love that about Nairobi. The tree life, the greenery, it's really nice. I give that to Nairobi. I know Lagos can do better, because Abuja is actually Abuja has trees too, and I really wish Lagos would also have that. So now let's talk about the payment system. When we just came to Kenya, to Nairobi, the M-Pesa system made it so easy for us to transact, to get things. All we had to do was just submit our passports, get a phone number, and then our M-Pesa was run with our phone number. So it's just like you can receive money with your phone number, using your phone number. You necessarily do not have to have a bank account to be able to transact. Once you have your M-Pesa, you can transact, you can get things at the mall, you can pay for your rent, you can pay a local vendor, you can get anything with your M-Pesa. And this is different from what it is in Nigeria. Unlike in Kenya, where you do not need to have a bank account to transact business, since M-Pesa saves the day. In Nigeria, to easily transact business, you need to have a bank account So I really love the idea of M-Pesa a lot. I know that Nigeria has some online banks that are trying to do something similar, like OPay, just to mention a few of them, where you use your phone number to also as your account number to receive money. But it's not as acceptable as it is here in Kenya, where you can use it in the mall. They just have to prompt your number and then you click yes to debit. You can use it in the mall, you can use it in the hospitals and all sorts of places. Talk about the food culture. In Kenya, I know one of the most popular food is the ugali with vegetable. And in Kenya, you have the chapati. I like the chapati and mandazi. I hope I pronounced that right. Mandazi is my favorite. While in Nigeria, we have a lot of swallow food, just like the ugali in Nairobi. In Kenya, we have fufu, we have eba, we have amala, we have pounded yam. We have so many, and we have a lot of soups across board. It's a lot. Now let's talk about spice. Kenyans do not really like to eat spicy food, like food that is kind of pepperish. They're not a fan of it. I've noticed that. Whereas in Nigeria, where I'm from, as a Yoruba girl, because not everyone in Nigeria to like spicy food, that's something like too pepperish anyways. But most of us that are Yorubas, we like spicy food. And I like not too spicy, but at least let me taste my pepper in my food. So I like that about my culture. And now, I've not really tried a lot of Kenyan food. I've not even eaten ugali before. The only thing I've eaten is chapati, mandazi, and palau. I had a friend cook that for me, and I loved it. It was rice, just like our Nigerian concussion rice. Rice with fried beef in it, and then she kept potatoes, and then she had vegetables by the side. That is fried vegetables by the side, which was really yummy. I enjoyed it. So yeah, and I cannot wait to try other Kenyan cuisines. I realized that there's some food that we eat in Nigeria that Kenyans don't eat. My husband was talking with one of his colleagues, and he was like, in Kenya, if you're eating snails, they will see you as a witch. Whereas in Nigeria, if you eat snails, you're a rich man, because first of all, snails are expensive. And then it's actually nice. I've eaten it when I was younger. I'm not a big fan of snail too, but when they garnish it with pepper and all, it's nice. So it was really, really surprising for me to hear that in Kenya, it's not they do not really eat snails. And then if you're even eating it, you are viewed as being a witch. Anyways, let me also say that there are some people in Nigeria that do not eat snails too. Actually, they believe that it brings about a setback, like it will make you slow in life and all that kind of. I do not believe in that. And I'm not a big fan of snail, but I've eaten it before and it's yummy. And also, I'm a child of God. All those things don't matter. I eat what I want to eat as long as it's not a human being I'm eating. So, yeah. Let's talk about something I love about Nairobi. It's the weather. The weather in Nairobi. We do not have an AC or fan, and we are not sweating, we are not feeling hot, and we've been here since June. Now, Nairobi has a very cool weather. It can be extremely cold sometimes, but not so cold that it's unbearable. And then now we're in November, it's raining here, and the rain is not, funny enough, it's not as heavy as it used to be in Nigeria. And then if Kenyan friend was telling me that the rain here has even been more persistent than what they used to have, and it's not really, and I'm like, in Nigeria it even rains heavier than this. But anyways, I love the weather in Nairobi. The weather is not too cold, it's not too hot now, but there's periods when the weather is cold. I think from June to July or August is kind of very, very chilly, but I'd rather be cold and keep warm than be hot and try to get away. Now, in Nigeria, we also have the raining season and the harmattan season and the dry season. In Nigeria, it could rain now, but when the sun is out, it shines through. The heat, oh Lord, I do not miss Nigeria's heat for anything, especially Abuja. That's the northern part of Nigeria. It can be really, really hot. Some things that we wear here in Kenya, like having to wear jackets, having to wear boots. In Nigeria, only once in a while, when we're in harmattan season, I get to wear a jacket. But then before you know it, in the afternoon, it's hot again, and then you dish it. But in the Kenyan, yeah, most times when you're going out, you have to go with a jacket or a coat because the weather can just switch up on you. However, in Nigeria, there are some places that also experience cold weathers like this. That is Jos, Bauchi, Benue. I've not been there, but my husband schooled in Jos, and he told me that it can be very cold too in Jos. And even in Kenya, I think Nairobi is colder. The coastal regions like Mombasa and those other places are not as cold as Nairobi is. So, yeah. Now, let me talk about the expat life in Nairobi and Lagos and Abuja. I think there are more expats here in Nairobi, and I think this is because the Kenyan government supports English language. Let me take that again. So as I was saying, I think the Kenyan government supports foreigners to come into Kenya to work compared to Nigeria, Lagos and Abuja. There are lots of foreigners working here in Nairobi from different parts of the world, and this is very, very unique, and I like that about Nairobi. Now let's talk about the nightlife. For this one, we are brothers. Kenyans can party, and Nigerians, Lagosians can party too. Everybody likes enjoyment. We know how to unwind. Kenya has a very beautiful nightlife, and so it is too with Lagos. The nightlife, there's always something to do. During the day, even at night, there are places open, the restaurant lifestyle, the food culture, the party culture. I mean, it's not a dull place to say. You always, if you're someone that is outgoing, you always have one event or something to visit. So there's so many places to enjoy here in Nairobi, and the same thing too with Lagos. I'm not leaving Abuja out because Abuja too has a good nightlife. There's something to do. There are lots of places to go. Is it clubs? Is it bars? Is it restaurants? Fun places. There's always something to do too in Abuja. Something I noticed about Kenya is the Afrobeats. I mean, it's our song, it's for all of us, but it's so nice to see how Kenyans appreciate Nigerian music. I know now it's a global thing, everybody's playing Nigerian music, everybody's listening to Afrobeats, but it's so beautiful. I mean, you guys really dig Nigerian songs, and yeah, it's our thing. It's an Afrobeat, and it's just really good to see your own, like other African countries appreciate Nigerian music. Kenyans are really, really, I mean, I've met a couple of people that will want to make you feel, oh, they will always want to make sure you can get the best deals and good bargains. Like, oh, don't go and get things here, it's more expensive, you can get things here, like looking out for you. And that's really a nice thing. I really do appreciate that. Most of the things that I got, especially my kitchen utensils and all some other things, it was someone that took me to a place where I could get them for a better price instead of just getting them at expensive prices in the mall. So there's something unique to Nigeria. It's what we call our Owanbe party, and this is a Nigerian party in ways that we celebrate weddings, burials, birthday parties. And in Owanbe parties, you always have a group of people that are wearing the same clothes, similar clothes, like coming to celebrate with the person, and the person might have picked that fabric, and then everybody just to support and make the occasion unique with the color of the day. It's either a clothes or you have a color of the day, and it's so unique because there's so many food to choose from, and definitely Nigerian jollof will be in it. It's always so beautiful. I don't know if Kenya has something like that, but I think the Owanbe is just like a name for our traditional parties where we celebrate and dance. Something I appreciate about Kenya is the tourism culture. Kenya is big on tourism. There's so many places that you can visit in Kenya to tour. The most popular one is the safari. I've been to Masai Mara and also to the Nairobi National Park where you have the animals, and it is so beautiful and so unique. I know that there are some other African countries that have the safaris, but the one I've experienced is in Kenya, and it was a mind-blowing experience for me. I also have a video about my Masai Mara experience, and I think you guys should check it out. Tourism here is awesome. The animals, you get to see them in their natural habitats, and I like that Kenya is preserving that life and also projecting that to the world. It's really, really beautiful, and yeah, good job, Kenya. In Nigeria, we also have some touristy things to do, but the way it's blooming here in Kenya is not that way in Nigeria. And I think Nigeria can learn that from Kenya and also improve on the things that we have that can, attract tourists into our country. So these are some of the culture shocks I've had so far, some of the differences I've noticed and the similarities I've noticed between Nairobi and Lagos stroke Abuja, Nigeria. And it has been really, really awesome staying here and doing this video. As I stay and the more I explore Kenya and Nairobi, I'll let you guys know if there's any other thing that I'm just noticing. I can do a part 2 to that. Please, if you have any suggestions for me to explore, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Tafadali, Ejo, Bikonu, All this just means, please, if you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I cannot do that without you guys. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys. Bye.